Right, welcome back. So we did have an error at the end of the last lesson, and if you did try to solve it on your own, it was a little tricky, but it was just one thing. So on the move row down, which we did see was causing some issues, it was my fault there. I forgot to put in a plus equals. So we were resetting everything to this position, but really we should have been just moving it down that one position. And that's why we're getting some sort of below the line there, because it was just pushing them all down. Okay, so just make sure that that was plus equals. So like I said, this video here, we want to look at figuring out when the game is over. And so in Tetris, the game is over when you basically have no more room to fill. You sort of run out of the height, basically. So the tetramino goes above this maximum height. And that's basically what we're going to do. We're just going to check basically what its Y position is, if it's greater than the grid height. So we're just going to grab our, back to our script here, and go to our game manager, and we're going to create another function here. And so this one is basically going to be another public one, because we're going to have to access it from the other one. It's also going to return a bool, okay, a true or false, and we're going to check is above the grid. Okay, and to get that, we have to put it in our tetramino, so our individual tetramino of our tetramino class. Okay, now I haven't done this for a while. Let me just make sure tetramino controller is what we've got. So tetramino controller, that should fix that up. It's our tetramino controller of our tetramino. So hopefully that fixes that. There we go. All right, so in this function here, we're going to also do some iterating through loops. So I've got a for loop for the integer, x is equal to 0. Okay, so if we've seen this before, x is less than the grid width, and then plus x. So we've got to go through each of these to the tetramino there. So what are we going to do? Well, for another loop here, for each transform, sorry, this should be here, for each, and what? So each transform mino in the tetramino dot transform, because we have to look at each sort of position of the mino in the tetramino. Okay, so for each of those, so there's 4 of them. Okay, what we want to do here is find the vector2 dot position. Okay, so vector 2 here, we're going to call it position, POS for position. We're just going to take the rounded value of the mino dot position. Okay, so we're going to round that value, and then if the Y position, so pos dot Y, okay, is greater than the grid height minus 1. Okay, so if that condition is true, what is it going to do? Well, it's going to return true. Okay. If not, now I got a bunch of things to close up here. So that, and we've got to return false otherwise. Okay, and then we close that one up. Good. So that's all we need to do in the game manager. Except for, and I'll do it at the end, we want to make more sense to have in the game manager here some sort of game over function, so that when we do have a game over, we can call that and it will do something. So what we'll do is create one more function called game over, and it doesn't return anything. It does nothing is inputted into it. Okay, and I'm going to use the old system application.loadLevel, just because I know it doesn't like that, but I always forget because I've got to put in the scene manager as well. So Okay, we'll just go with this for the moment. You can do it better. And I don't know if we've got a game over scene yet, but we might have to create it. And you can do that on your own. Okay, just a second, caps lock over. Okay, so it's going to load that game level. And if you want to fix that up and not use application.load level, all the power to you there, okay? Because we really should be using that new system. Okay, so I'm just going to do this very simple. When that game over thing is called, okay, that function is called, it is going to load the level. So how is it going to get called? Well, we're going to run that from the Tetris13 controller again. Okay, and so what we're going to do is go, just save this up, go to the Tetris13 controller, and go back down to where we were. Okay, where was that here? There it is. So find object of type game manager dot delete row. We're going to do a little bit more here. So once it deletes that row, we're also going to check if, so we're going to copy this thing. I'm going to copy that. That's why I typed this out again. And then just change the function that we're looking for. So it's not going to be the delete row one. We're going to do the check is above grid. So hopefully that's the correct way of spelling it. Okay. And this is a little bit tricky here, but what are we going to put into it? We're going to put in the Tetris13. So this Tetris13 we're going to call. Okay, so check is above grid. A little bit of an error there. That's because I need one more. There we go. To close up this. So this, because now this is a condition here. So if this is true, okay, what's going to happen? Well, whoops. This is a condition here. So what's going to happen? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to call the game over. So I'm going to paste in again this one, and this time though we're going to run the game over. Okay, good, and we'll just close that bracket up, and hopefully everything is okay here. So I'm going to save it, go back to Unity, still have that index out of range, but it seems to be okay. Good. So let's see. Oh, now, one thing I didn't check is to see, do we even have a scene here, game over? We do have a scene called game over. Before we actually play the game, I'm just going to save this scene. Game over. We don't have anything in here. Let's just quickly put a thing in here. So view, game object, UI. Let's just put in some text in there. Okay, just zoom out. And where's my text? Okay, so there it is in the bottom corner. Let's center it here. Shift, I always forget, Shift and Alt. And I'll center it. Okay, new text. Let's make it a lot bigger and maybe white. One thing I've learned is that, you know, sometimes if you make it too big, you have to change the height here. You can also change both of these to overflow, and it doesn't really care. You can get bigger and bigger, and it will just, you know, sort of fill up the screen as whatever you need. So I'm just going to make a very simple thing here that just says game over. Okay, and maybe make it some white text or something like that. Okay, good. So there is our lovely scene. Challenge for you is to put a button in there and have it, you know, play again, and so that the game will cycle over and over again. Okay, one of those basic things that you should know how to do. So I'm just going to save, make sure this is save scene. In order to get it to actually go to the next scene, we need to make sure that it's in our build settings. So I'm going to add open scene, and I'm also going to grab the level. And since that one's the one that we would open with, we don't have a start screen yet. We'd want to make sure that we do that. We're not going to build it. We're just going to close that up. And we are going to go back to level and see how it's going. Now, just looking at the time here, I'm going to try to fill up a level here. just to make sure everything is playing right. And then I'm going to purposely lose. Okay, so let's just see. Course. Oh, there's a perfect one. So this should see now if everything moves down. Looks good. Now I'm just going to double check as well that this fits in here. It does. Okay, now my purpose is to lose the game. So I'm just going to build on this tower here. Mr. Fleming's terrible. My gosh, where'd you learn to play Tetris? Okay, so we're getting close. Ooh, look at that. Of course, now I have trouble. Okay. Might have to build this out a bit here. Make it easier because it's hard to get it right to come down. Okay. Hard to lose a game sometimes. Okay. There we go. Game over. So that seems to be working there. Perfect. All right. So in a couple other things, the next video we'll talk about scoring. You can go ahead and make a cool title screen and get the game, cycling through an introduction, and then going into the game over, and then getting it back into a play again. Okay, so that would be a cool thing to do there. And then once you do that, come back to the videos and see if you can. Well, you can even try working on your own score system. Like in terms of a score system, you could think about if you clear one row, you'd get so many points. If you clear 2 rows, you get even more points. 3 rows, even more points. And of course, clearing 4 rows at the same time, that's sort of the maximum points there. So you can come up with some sort of, 100, maybe 200, and then 500, and then 1,000 or something like that. Create sort of a scoring system. Something else that you could probably do on your own as well is some sound effects. Okay, that would be kind of cool, right? So some background music, some sounds if you rotate, sort of the bonus sounds, if you clear a line, the sound that might play. So you could probably do something like that on your own. Okay, I think most versions of Tetris have a preview window, so that's a little bit trickier to do, but then the player would kind of know, okay, this is the next piece, so they can place the piece that they're dealing with a little bit more strategically. So you can try thinking about how you might accomplish that. Okay, basically you just need to sort of have it appear in one spot and then move that one over when you want it to have it come into play. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff you could attempt on your own. I'll probably come back with a video and talk about a few other things, but there's lots there for you to sort of add to this game and see what you can do rather than just relying on following me there. Okay, so my challenge to you is, like I said, make this game a little bit better, add some scoring, add the sound effects, and maybe even a preview window. All right, good luck.